What's happening? Welcome, 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 welcome. Still a nation, still a fan, still a family. What is happening? What's going on, good people, man? Welcome to the latest episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic. And like I said in the post-game show, a lot of stuff going on with my stream software. I had to completely shut it down and re-download and strip it down. So a lot of my elements I don't have in my stream deck here. So that's why you didn't see a starting screen. You won't see a closing screen. A lot of things going on, but I'm in the process of getting it back together. I still got the round of applause. I still got a couple other little things, and I'll add things back to it by time the next show. But just wanted to give you guys that quick update. But hey, we don't need it. We don't need any of the fancy stuff. Y'all just want to see me on screen. I want to see y'all in the chat. And that's all we need, right? And of course, Blog Talk Radio is not working either. But hey, I told y'all they're going out of business anyway. But I'm not gonna jump right away to try to have a solution. I know, again, some of you guys have talked about Discord. I'm still searching for something that doesn't require a login. But have no fear, good people. Have no fear. Have no fear. If I cannot find something like that, then I will resort to one of those options because I still want to hear from you guys the best I can. But I'm looking for more of a switchboard type of situation where there's a direct phone number to call in like Blog Talk Radio. But hold on. Round of applause to Steeler Lee. Appreciate the Wonder Bread. Oh. Okay, he says, as a Virginia guy, I got to know your thoughts on Vick accepting the head coaching job at Norfolk State. Oh, man, you know I got to love that. You know I love it. Did not know he accepted the job at Norfolk State. I saw, what was the other thing I saw earlier? Was it, and y'all help me, was it Sacramento State or somebody like that? I did not know that, Norfolk State was on the table. But I have to say this, man. As a born and raised Virginian, in Richmond, not too far from Norfolk in the Tidewater area. Gotta love that for Michael Vick, man. Again, Michael Vick was one of the best athletes, that many of us saw, come out of Virginia. And there's plenty of them. I said one of the best because there was some other guys that, let me tell you, Allen Iverson was a serious problem in football as well. Many people don't know that. Guys like Ron Carey were serious problems, and many others. I mean, so many from like that Virginia Beach, Tidewater area. But then, there's plenty of athletes in Northern Virginia. I mean, a lot of guys. But anyway, like I said, one of the best that we've seen come out of Virginia. So salutes, man, to definitely salutes to Mike Vick. I really love that. I love when, ex-players get an opportunity where their accolades allow them the fortitude to be able to, coach if they are to do so. And who knows what type of coach Michael Vick is. I have no idea, but I'm going to root for him for his rebound story because, in some places he still has that stain against him from being, kicked out of the league and doing his prison time and all of that. So I'm ecstatic, man, for Michael Vick, man. Shout outs to Vick. But let's say hello to the early commenters, man. See who else is out there. Hello, Angie, a.k.a. Baby Steeler, one of our lovely, lovely female listeners. Sorry, I don't even want to classify it like that. Lady listeners of Steeler Nation. We love our wonderful ladies of Steeler Nation, our beautiful ladies. So, guys, make sure y'all say hello to Angie, a.k.a. Baby Steeler. Anyone else who's in the chat, I already see one of our favorites. Hello, Lanisha. Lanisha in the chat, like always. Old faithful. Hello, Lanisha. Hope you're having a wonderful evening as well. My man, Mark Cunningham in the building. My guy, Crazy Ron Gaming. 412 born and raised. Steeler Lee, of course, in the building. Joshua Shields in the building. Who else is up in here? Who else is in here? My man, Y Diggy's in the building. Brent Fox, what's up, Brent? Brent in the building as well. My man Daron is in the building. 12 gauge Hemi is in the building. James Webb in the building. My good brother Kenan is in the building. You know, you got to talk crazy when you're talking about your boy. He in the building. My good brother Kenyon is in the building. James Tresvant is in the building. Jared Devil in the building. Hello, Leonard Langley. Pop is in the building. Brandon Cheney in the building. Vista Light in the building. Y'all coming in heavy tonight. My guy, CT Pittman in the building. I told you I was gonna get you some gaming content. I got more coming. Stay tuned. Who else? Sonny Rock Miller, the Art Stealer, all in the building, and we'll end with one last name here. Oh, Debbie. Debbie is in the building, one of our all-time favorites. What's going on, Debbie? Again, fellas, y'all make sure you say hello to our lovely, lovely ladies of Steeler Nation. All right, so let's get to it, man. Again, let me make this announcement again because I know some of you guys are coming in a little later. Blog Talk Radio is on the fritz again tonight, but you know what? I'm not even worrying about Blog Talk no more because I think I informed you guys. I want to say January that they're going out of business. There will be no more Blog Talk Radio. I am still currently researching another phone service. What I want, again, I've said this several times, but what I want, if I could find another program that has a switchboard type of behavior, a telephone number that you dial into. I do not prefer any option that requires you to have a login. I could be wrong here, but to my knowledge, you have to have some type of login for a Discord or some type of login / email for a Google Meets or for Zoom. I don't want to do that. I don't want you guys to have accounts. You know, I want to be able to throw a phone number out there because, like I said, I'm thinking ahead. I'm forward thinking. I want to grow this particular show and make it larger than life. And when you get big like that and you can't have people, I don't know my sign. No, I need them to just call directly in, and I need the switchboard option where I can mute, bring people on, et cetera, et cetera. That's what I'm looking for. So stay tuned on that. So in the meantime, we may not have the phone, but I'm going to get on it. I'm going to look. But let's get right into it, guys. I don't want to hold you guys forever and a day. So let's get right to what we want to talk about. I want to leave a ton of time in the chat for you guys to chop it up. Of course, what we're always going to do, man, is talk a little bit about Mike Tomlin and what I may have gotten from the presser. And a couple things. You know, he never gives us too much, but a couple things. So Mike Tomlin did say that we didn't play or coach well. And for what it's worth, I know some of you guys will say, it's the cliche statement. It's the smoke and mirrors, whatever. I'm not here to debate that. But I do always appreciate any coach that will take the ownership. We've seen coaches in the NFL and other sports that kind of throw their team under the bus. I like when a coach can just straight up say, listen, there's some things that we didn't do well. He even said that at halftime when he was saying, there's a couple looks that we threw out there that, didn't work. We're going to try to make some adjustments in the second half. I can appreciate when a coach takes ownership and puts himself first in front of the team in terms of taking the blame. I like that. Now, like I said, whether, some of you guys appreciate that or not, I'm not here to debate that. I'm just saying it's always good to hear that from coaches, period. But he also talked about, man, he said from a schematic standpoint, there were some things that they outplayed us. He said, there were a lot of missed opportunities and missed tackles, and his phrase, weighty down, the weighty possession downs. And he was absolutely correct in that. If you went back and watched the game, or if you recall it from Sunday, it was just these moments, man, where we just didn't win, whether offensively or defensively. I mean, offensively, it wasn't a chance, especially in the first half. But defensively, man, we let the Eagles convert a lot of third downs. And those are weighty moments, man. And there's a lot of missed opportunities, even with us. I'm going to talk about a couple of things that I just saw, even as I watched a little bit of the 22. Didn't watch a ton of it. I watched about the first quarter, but then what I did do is I went and I watched every pass that was beyond 10 yards. And I'm going to give you some commentary on that here in a moment. But another thing that he talked about, man, is not only losing the weighty downs, but then fumbling the ball away. And again, he's never going to put blame solely on Naji Harris, but the fact of the matter is you cannot turn over the ball at that moment. The Steelers had some momentum right there. We were driving the ball. If I'm not mistaken, that was on the drive when the flea flicker. You know, we came out and tried something different offensively. Again, y'all correct me because, again, I want you guys to hold me accountable to giving the correct information the same way I will do with you guys. If I'm not mistaken, do you guys recall the Steelers running a flea flicker, with Arthur Smith or even Matt Canada? I don't recall seeing a flea flicker in a long time. Definitely not with Arthur Smith so far, right? We have not seen a flea flicker this season, right? Am I right about that? And the reason why I want to make note of that is that's something that arguably, you know, it's one play, but that's an adjustment. That was clearly an adjustment that they attempted. You understand what I'm saying? So it was good to see it and it worked. Got the drive going. Let me see what you guys say. Not with Smith. Wow. Steeler card says Naji has to go. Y'all are harsh. Y'all are harsh. You said Naji and Cordero Patterson. I'm not too mad at the Cordero Patterson one, but all of a sudden, like, Naji got to go? I mean, it's one's opinion. I'm not going to argue it. Why Diggy says it's been years. Yeah, definitely something different. So I appreciated the flea flicker, and again, it worked. And we were moving the ball. We were moving the ball, and then the fumble happens. And let me put it into context in case you guys did not see it during the broadcast. I want you guys to remember that Naji, that was his first fumble loss this season. Now, I do recall a couple games where it was almost fumble and he recovered it, but this particular time was the first time that it costed something. But again, I'm not going to put that, I'm not just going to put that one thing on Naji, but I respect what Steeler Cards is saying. He says that Naji doesn't fit this team. I'm sorry. Not hating, he doesn't fit the system. That's fine. I mean, like I said, it's one man's opinion. I don't think Naji. Well, let me go back and say this. It's hard for me to say that Naji doesn't fit the scheme or offense when the offense that we're running is definitely a mirror image of what Arthur Smith ran in Tennessee. No, Naji does not have wheels like Derrick Henry, but I'm saying big bruising back. I think you need a Naji type. I like the compliment of Naji and Jaylen Warren. I love that. And whichever way you want to rotate it. At one time, I felt like Naji should start and Warren should come in and be the change of pace, but maybe it could work as well with Warren getting more carries and Naji being the change of pace. But I do like what Naji can bring to this offense. I mean, just look at some of the games this year where Naji was running out of his mind, possessed, like giving us that Steeler presence, carrying dudes 15 yards down the field. Like, that's just my personal opinion, but, not going to argue someone else's opinion. We're all free to have them. But yeah, I don't think it's as bad as how you may feel, Steeler Cards, as far as him not fitting or him needing to go. But I got you. I ain't mad at that. What else did I get from Tomlin? Let's see. Got my little notations here. He talked about George Pickens, Deshaun Elliott, Larry Ogunjobi are all guys that he's going to let participation be the guide. He talked about TJ Watt walking around without a boot or anything of that nature, and he actually said the words optimistic about TJ playing. He mentioned Dante Jackson dealing with the back injury, and he mentioned Justin Fields dealing with an abdominal injury. Did not know that, but I do recall when Justin Fields came out the game, he did look a little hesitant, right? He looked like something was going on, but I didn't know what the injury was. But yet he did say that none of the 6 of those guys would be considered out for this week. So I guess that's a positive thing as well. Absolutely. I mean, every one of those guys that I named even Justin Fields will be an asset against the Ravens. What else did he say? Tomlin explained the decision to punt. And Tomlin said exactly what I was saying in the post game, right? I'll sum it up for you. I'll just give you a quick paraphrase of what he said. He wasn't comfortable with the down and distance. He said maybe if it was 4th and 5 or less, he may have thought about going for it, but he did not feel comfortable at 4th and 7. And the reason that he said, when you get in that type of situation, and I think, me personally, guys, I think he's talking specifically about the Eagles. He said, in this situation, you got to go max protection. What he also said, the underlying comment to that, again, y'all could tell me I'm reaching, but this is what I took from that. You go max protection, you got to leave a running back or a tight end in to block. You don't have as many options on the outside. You don't have George Pickens on the outside, the guy that could beat one-on-one coverage at the combat spot, right? Not necessarily from a route running standpoint, but you throw it up to George Pickens in a situation like that. If it's man, you figure maybe he wrestles the ball away. That's what I took from that comment. Again, this is just maybe my wacky mind, but me putting on the football cap, and I'm thinking, because remember, this is very similar to what I said after the game. I said, I don't know about that 4th and 7. Our offense hadn't really shown that they could make that type of down and distance when they needed it. So that's how I took his comment and him saying not comfortable at 4th and 7. And basically, like I said, if you're in max protection, you're taking an eligible off the field or out of the route combination, and you're not trusting anyone else based off of what the Eagles were doing. You didn't trust anyone to get the 7 yards. Again, I'm not asking you guys or telling you guys to agree with that. I'm just saying that's what I felt. Y'all heard me say it in the post game, but he also said, added more to it. I said this in the post game. He also said he was more confident in the defense being able to get off the field, even considering how the defense had played thus far. So if you guys remember in the post game, I said something very similar. I said, look, maybe he felt like our best chance was the defense as opposed to the offense picking up 7 yards. You don't have to love it. Don't have to hate it. I'm just saying, again, and this is not me patting my back. No, I'm just saying I felt the same way, but I understood you guys saying I would have went for it. No disagreement with me. I just gave you guys my opinion. I said what I would have done if I was the coach. I think in that same scenario, I'm punting it away because I did not feel confident in the offense getting 7 yards when they needed it, right? It's a difference of us picking up some yards here and there, and the Eagles kind of allowed us to get back in the game, or we're finding a couple spots where we're picking up a nice play. But I did not trust our offense to go out and get points when we needed it. Watching that game, I just didn't. Or getting more than average yards to go. I would not have trusted that 4th and 7 as well. With 11 minutes in the game, you pin them deep, you put your defense back out there, see if you can get a stop. And it almost came into fruition, but there you have it. Yeah. What else did I write down? I took a couple notes today about what Tomlin was talking about. There's one other one. I mean, I think all of us can agree with this. Lack of possession down told the story of the game, man. It really did. It really did. We didn't convert many third downs. They converted a bunch of them. We had way too many 3 and outs. They didn't have enough of them. It's just that simple. That's what it came down to if you want to simplify it. Now, here's some other things that I made note of, and only 4 quick notations. As I rewatched the game, and again, like I told you guys, as I went out there today, about an hour or so ago, and I looked at all of the passing plays that they had that was 10 yards or more, I'm here to tell you it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty. And I'll get to it in a second. I'm going to read to you my couple of notes. I talked about this in the post game, but guys, the very first play of the game, once again, it was 12 personnel, which included Darnell Washington, Connor Haywood, Calvin Austin, and Van Jefferson. Now, in case you guys are unfamiliar with what that is, again, not everybody knows personnel and all of that. 12 personnel, you have 2 tight ends on the field and 1 running back. Hence, Darnell Washington, Connor Haywood. What's up, Ralph Fax? See my man right there. I haven't seen you in a while, man. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. So, that first play was a toss to Naji Harris. Picked up 2 yards. 2. We ran the exact same play to start the second drive. Okay? We start drive number 1 with that play. On drive number 2, as you guys recall, we went 3 and out back to back. On the second drive, we ran the same play. But let me tell you what the personnel was this time. Once again, it was 12. But this time, it was Michael Pruitt, Darnell Washington, Scotty Miller, and Van Jefferson. And we pitched it to, was it the same side? Yeah, I think we pitched it right both times. So this is what I talk about when I say I have appreciated what Arthur Smith has tried to do this season, and it has worked at times when it's going. I'm not going to be one of those guys that are results biased. Of course, when it's going, you have no complaints. But I've been telling y'all, remember, I was telling y'all even in games that we lost, I was saying, hey, I'm seeing some things that Arthur Smith is trying to put together, and some of it is an execution issue. Again, I watch film. So sometimes when we only gain a yard here, a yard there, it's execution more so than the play call. But the problem I do have with Arthur Smith is he sticks to the same script. And I'm going to include everybody because, you know, some of y'all say that that's on Tomlin. So for those of you guys that feel that way, I'm going to say Coach T and Arthur Smith. So it fits whatever narrative y'all want to create. I have a problem with us sticking to the script so much or so predictably. How do you start 2 consecutive drives with the same play? Same personnel with slightly different people in that personnel. It's those things. Those are the problems and those are the issues that Arthur Smith has. Is sometimes it's script and not being more variant, you know, having more variation to it, more multiple, as you'll hear me say. Or he just doesn't use anything else like to throw the scent off the dogs. You know what I mean? Come out in 11. Come out in 11. Hey, come out in an empty set every now and then just to do something different. It's funny that I say empty set because I'm going to talk about that here in a moment. But do something different, my dude. Everybody knows that you want to run the ball. Everybody knows you're a type of offense that wants to run the football. Hey, everybody knows that Baltimore wants to run the football. But every now and then they do something different. They come out in a different look to start the game to get you off kilter. The Eagles did it. I'm about to explain. That's the issue I have with our offense. Like I said, Arthur Smith has some tools in his bag. It's just when he decides to use a certain tool. Like he's the type that he only wants to use a Phillips head screwdriver for everything. When there's plenty of other tools, there's times where he could use the pliers. He could use a ratchet. You know, he could use a drill. Hey, even if you want to use the Phillips head, why don't you use an electric one or a drill that has a little more flair to it? But no, he gets stuck. I'm just going to use this Phillips head and when it just don't work or when I'm about to strip the boat, okay, I'll go get the right tool. Come on, man. You got a lot of tools in that chest. You got a whole chest full of tools. Use them. The flea flicker was almost like a jackhammer. You see what I'm saying? We start with the script and we stick to it too long. But why do we always have to start with the main script? Where's the curveball? Debbie. Yeah, it just drives me crazy. But let me explain a couple more things. Third play of the game. I noticed something. This was that pass when we threw it deep to Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson. I wish. To Van Jefferson, right? Now, it almost looked like that Russ had it in his mind that he's just going to take a shot deep, right? And again, Russell Wilson has been playing well for the Steelers. He has. Y'all can say what y'all want. Russ has been playing well. Every quarterback misses reads, misses throws. But this one almost felt like we were just going to take a shot regardless. But what was crazy was, from what I saw, the Eagles was in cover 2 man, right? So the corner was on Jefferson. Jefferson ran kind of like a post, right? The safety's right there on that side. So, I mean, Jefferson got to the point where he got up to the safety and the corner and kind of got past him, but not enough. Then you got Blankenship on the other side, who was quick enough to recognize where the ball was going. Instead of him playing over the top on Calvin Austin, he's already cheating over to the left. So it ends up being triple coverage. So even without the triple coverage, it looked like, just looking at the way Russ, where his helmet was looking, it looked like his decision was already made. I'm going to take a shot. That ain't George Pickens. That ain't even Calvin Austin that might be fast enough to blow past people. It was almost like it was just determined that they were going to do that, maybe thinking they were going to catch the Eagles off guard. But if you go back and watch the play, I think the better read was the check down to Jaylen Warren. He wasn't wide open, but he had about 4 yards in front of him, but him against one guy. And I think it might have even been a linebacker. I'm almost certain. Can't guarantee it, but we know how Jaylen Warren is once he catches the ball. He usually gets yak. So I bet you when they watch film, Russ, offensive coordinator, they'll all look at that and say, yeah, in a situation like this, I wish we could have got over here. Because that's probably your better bet. And it's funny because later on in the game, I think the second or third drive, there was a check down that he did check it down to Jaylen Warren. Hold on, I'll get back to it. First, I got to say shout outs and thank you to James Webb for that Wonder Bread. Very good question. He says, can Smith use Washington over the middle? Shaking my head. He seems to have good hands and is a big target for Wilson. I would love to see that, because it's funny, every time we've seen, most of the time, well, once a couple times in the season, we did hit Washington down the seam. I want to see more of that. Big target. But here lately, we're using Freiermuth a lot in the seam, which I'm not mad at that as well. Freiermuth, if I'm not mistaken, guys, career high touchdowns. If I'm not mistaken, I'm just guessing off the eye test. I don't recall seeing Freiermuth with what he got now, 6 or 7. I don't recall that in any previous season. Maybe I'm misremembering. So I'm not mad at that, but definitely, dog, man, what about running a double seam? What about running a double seam? Where the quarterback can check and see which guy has the best, matchup or who might pop open. Because a lot of times lately in the last few weeks, it's like we're getting Washington the ball on the outside where he is bigger than the opposing tackler. But yeah, I like to see him get more down the seam. So So yeah, I'm not mad at that at all, man. I'm not mad at that at all. And I'm not mad at what K007 is saying. I would love to see us use the middle of the field a lot more. But let me get back to what I was saying about Russell Wilson, guys. Later on in that game, I can't remember what drive it was. Oh, I got it. I got it notated. On the 6th offensive play, the 6th, the Steelers run trips right. Go back and watch it. So this is play number 6. We run trips right. Van Jefferson is in the middle of the trips. And this is what I wrote. Jefferson gets behind the defense and pops open, and he ran like a corner route. But Wilson checks it down to Warren, and the ball gets batted. Had plenty of time in the pocket. When you go back and look at it, he had time, right? But again, I have no way of knowing this, but it may be possible that maybe they did look at the other play and realize, okay, if I don't get the look I want, or as the commentators were saying, if the Eagles muddy it up out there and I can't quite read what they're doing, let me get to my check down. But guys, if you have an opportunity to go back and watch that play, I don't know if the TV tape will show it, but the All-22 shows it. Jefferson was wide open in front of, that must have been, it was a safety in a corner. I don't know. I got to go back and see what defense they was playing. It might have been a nickel because somebody was playing underneath. But Jefferson was right in front of them. Right in front of them, guys. And yeah. It was an opportunity. Let me take a moment to say this. Ali, I apologize. He says these commercials during live streams. I apologize, man. I mean, what can I say? I monetize my content. I'm sorry. And I mean that wholeheartedly to all of you guys. I'm sorry. I don't see the stream, so I don't know how often the ads are running and things like that. I'm sorry, but I'm just keeping it a buck, keeping it real with you guys. I monetize the stream. I try to be an active participant. And being a YouTuber, but I do apologize, Ali, if it's frustrating. I definitely apologize, man. But I gotta monetize. I'm just being honest with y'all. I've thought about potentially going over to Patreon, but we'll see. Maybe that's a discussion later down the road. But y'all know I'm always gonna keep it 1,000 with y'all. I gotta get incentivized, some kind of way. But we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, man. Real quick, just off topic. Yes, Mambo, Smitty and I will be back at the top of the year. And when we come back, it's gonna be like every other week. But stay tuned for that. Let's get back to what I was saying, man. It's again, I'm not gonna say Russell Wilson didn't read the field, but like that is a missed opportunity. So it was cool to hear Tomlin say that. I guarantee you when they watch the film and stuff like that, it was right there. And Russell had time to get the ball off. But things happen. But the other thing I wanted to talk about, man, Philadelphia. First play, they went empty and they caught us kind of off guard. Looking at the All-22, I can't tell all of the people on the field as far as personnel. I think 2 tight ends were out there. So it's very possible that they went empty, even with tight ends and running back. Like I said, I can't clearly see if it was 11 personnel or if it was 2 tights, right? But I know the tight end and number 81 was the guy who burned Landon Roberts. No disrespect to him. He's not a cover guy, but he beat him on the double move and they hit us down the field for plus 20 yards on the first play. But you see what I'm saying about doing something different? Everybody in the country knows they want to run the football with the NFL leading rusher, a guy who's also going for the record. And Pittsburgh kind of put a little douse to that flame, but Of course they want to run the football, but they come out and empty. Whether it was a design empty with the correct personnel or whether it was an empty with big personnel, they spread us out. And I'm more inclined to believe that maybe it was more of a big personnel. Maybe it was 12 or something like that because Landon Roberts was on the field and it was first down. Because again, the Steelers are trying to match personnel and match down and distance. First play of the game for them, you're thinking they're going to run the ball. So Landon Roberts comes in more as the run guy. So they got us in a base defense. Because if you noticed, again, because they went empty, how you know we were in base, even if you didn't know, from personnel, both Landon Roberts and Alex Highsmith was in coverage. Alex Highsmith generally is going to be pulled off ball and in coverage when we're caught in a base situation and a team goes empty or a team goes 11 personnel and now you got to match wits with one of your edge rushers to play coverage. Y'all know we've seen plenty of that. Remember the Keith Butler days when remember that game against the Chargers when we had that game won and then Keenan Allen and company came back and wore us out in the second half because we kept getting, I forget which linebacker it was, but we kept getting matched up with Vince Williams or one of them. See? But anyway, man, just stuff like that. Like Philly came out and showed a different blueprint to start the game. And once they got rolling, even though we held them to a field goal, once they got rolling, that could sway a game early. But here's another thing I wanted to mention to you guys, man. Like I said, I watched every one of those plays that they were able to pass for 10 or more yards. Our DBs, meaning our cornerbacks, got cooked, whether it was man or zone. Whether it was man or zone, they just got beat. A.J. Brown, had his way a couple of times with JPJ, as well as he had his way a few times with Dante Jackson. There was another moment, it was early in the game. I want to say it was, which play was it? It was relatively early. It was in the first quarter because I was watching the 22 a little while ago. Where they caught us. No, it might have been in the second quarter because I skipped around and just went to each one of those plays. But they caught us in a cover 3. And we in that trail technique. And matter of fact, I took a screenshot of it on my Mac because I was watching the film on my Mac as opposed to my desktop here in the office. But I meant to, see, it's gonna take too much for me to run, get it, and send it to myself. And then I wanted to show y'all that. I wanted to show y'all that on screen. I have a screenshot of how wide open two guys were in the middle of the field. And the funny thing is, Jalen Hurts didn't even go to that guy. He ended up checking it down to Smith, and Smith still made a play. But it was so wide open because, again, we turned and played that trail technique. And, with the cover 3, we just left the middle of the field open. I think they ran a play action too because they pulled the backers up and it was just butt naked open. I'm surprised Jalen Hurts didn't see his man in the middle of the field, his two guys in the middle of the field. But then even when we were in man, even when Joey Porter Jr., I'm calling him his name right now, but even when he did what I've been asking for us to do, because again, mano a mano, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some, but even when he got hands on Brown, it didn't matter. A.J. Brown beat him the same way every time. JPJ tried to get hands on him and Brown kind of ripped it and got inside. Like we have a problem with now I see allowing guys to get the inside when you get hands on them or trailing and turning and giving them the inside. But it just wasn't a good game for the corners, man. It just wasn't. I mean, again, you're not going to win them all, but we lost a bunch of them. Now, like I said, I'll go back and look at the entire game again, in the all 22 just to see overall. But I just wanted to look at the big plays and see where the gaps were, and just giving y'all a prequel, a precursor, if you will. All of you guys who are extended family members, again, thank y'all first of all. But when I show you that footage, that's what the focus will be on. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the last footage that I put out there, kind of having a theme now, as opposed to just showing a bunch of plays. Now I'm gonna have a theme every time I do all 22. The theme of this week will be the big explosive pass plays. And I'm gonna show y'all each and every one of them so you can see what happened. It was bad, folks. It was bad. Cade saying, do you think we should get a new DC? I don't know, man, because if we're being honest, when the defense has played good and we've turned the ball over a lot, it's been the same DC. So I don't want to get caught up in the cycle of just replace, because largely, if we're being honest, folks, largely Terrell Austin's defenses have done well. Yes, they have a few philosophies that I don't necessarily agree with all the time, like playing trail technique a lot, spending a lot of time in cover 3, and not really pressing. But largely, you have to, if you look at the years that he's taken over and you look at the averages and things, we've done a relatively good job on defense, creating turnovers and stuff like that. It's just that we do allow a lot of explosive plays. It's give or take, you know what I mean? But a lot of times as fans, we always want to run to get rid of a guy, and then the next guy comes and they don't do good. I mean, but we can't sit here and say that our defense hasn't performed. Remember, early in the year, some of y'all right in here in this chat, a lot of y'all were saying, oh, this defense is going to win us a bunch of games. So we can't all of a sudden now, it's just, sometimes teams have time to study, man, and they kind of know your philosophy and they know how to beat it. And then it's up to you to counter that, right? So some of it is definitely personnel, and some of it could be scheme at times. So, but I just don't think it's an easy fix. I don't know necessarily if it's an easy fix, just changing the defensive coordinator. I do think we have some talent on defense, but our cornerback position is not stellar, right? And I don't mean that as in not many teams have a stellar cornerback group, but there are teams, some of the good teams have solid corners, right? Solid. And we haven't really been able to say that, right? JPJ is still emerging. He's still young. Dante Jackson, yes, he's had some nice interceptions this year, but he isn't the best corner at this stage of his career. And it just is what it is. I think the Steelers are fighting through the personnel they have the best they can. So, it is what it is. But largely, guys, that's what I saw, man, just rewatching the game and the bit of 22 that I watched. Offensively, we just couldn't do nothing, man. We just, again, if the Steelers are going to be competitive, and I'm talking about even in the future, let me go on record and say I don't really have a problem with Arthur Smith. Again, guys, we're 10-4, right? And if you ask me, and some of y'all might agree, we may have overachieved based off of what we thought from the beginning of the season. 2 quarterbacks, not sure who's going to emerge as the guy. Justin Fields goes 4-2. Russell Wilson goes on this run where he was 6-0 at one point. And they're sitting at 10-4. They've got 10 wins with this offense. An offense this year as well. Remember, we put up more than 30 points. Did we do it, 4 times? 3 or 4 times. So I'm not going to say that Arthur Smith is the problem, but I will say Arthur Smith needs to make some adjustments to his approach. Just get more in that tool bag. And I'm going to say this until I'm blue in the face because it's today's NFL. You have to be able to be a threat out of 11 personnel. You have to. Nobody is just going to be afraid of you in heavy packages anymore. They're not. You got to be able to do things out of 11. You got to be able to give the illusion of pass or the threat of pass and be able to run out of those formations. Or if not that, still pretty much the same personnel, but you got to be able to maybe run pistol sometimes. You got to give different looks. You got to be able to run the ball from shotgun. You can't just line up and be the rough and tough Steelers. It just don't work like that all the time. Now, we've had some success, but it just doesn't work all the time. You have to be able to adjust. And that's where we've been a little bit lackluster, man. So we'll see, guys. Now, I did want to mention there definitely was some things that the refs missed. You know, I never like to put games on refs, but they absolutely missed. You know, I saw today that they claimed that on the personal foul against Austin and Washington that there were no punches thrown by the Eagles. And you clearly see in the video that Darius Slay, shout outs to Big Play Slay, I mean, he punches at Darnell Washington 3 times. It looks like he might have hit him twice. I'm like, okay, what were y'all looking at? What were y'all looking at? And then what about the one with Carter when he punched, basically knocked Connor Hayward out, right? Hit him with a clean right hook to the face. And they're going to say that it didn't happen after the punt. And clearly the video shows that it happened before the ball was even punted. It's like little stuff like that. And not just because it went against us. I just hate when refs miss blatant calls. Y'all should see me at my son's basketball games. His little 5th grade games. I be talking to the refs, but quietly. But I'd be like, yo, you don't see that travel? You don't see that? The other day, they won the game and all that, but the other day, and I'm fair about it, they called the other team out of bounds, right? Because on the court is like a black line to the out of bounds. The boy won't nowhere near the line, and the ref called out of bounds. And I even said to him, I said that he wasn't out. So it don't matter who the team is. I just hate seeing refs miss blatant calls. They're humans. We all make mistakes, but especially in the NFL, when you got players or refs in position like this and they looking right at something, how do you miss it? How? It's just crazy to me. It's just crazy to me. But not gonna go so far into it right now, guys. Because I'm gonna do a before play video, but boy, do we have a big one coming up, like I wrote in the title. They have a chance to clinch, and I'm just going to tell y'all, I don't feel good about it. And I'll tell y'all about that in just a second. I know some of you guys are expecting to see the big hat moment. Well, I decided I wasn't going to do a big hat moment tonight, even though TJ Watt had a moment. But it wasn't a moment because that fumble resulted in no points. Matter of fact, the Steelers got 2 fumbles and within a minute's time and did nothing with it. Maybe one of them times we got a field goal, but so instead of having a big hat moment, I'm going to go with little hat disappointment. That's how the Steelers played. Little hat disappointment as opposed to the big hat moment. And the Steelers looked and played as silly as I look with this little mini helmet on the top of my head. So no big hat moment, little hat disappointment. Sorry for that bang. But yeah, man. Yeah. That's all I got on that. But real quick, man, and then I'm going to get in the chat. How long we been in here? 49 minutes. Almost still got to an hour. Hold on. Donation. We got some Wonder Bread, man. Thank you for my brother. Wide Diggy, appreciate you. He says that botch penalty was the 4th down Tomlin didn't go for. Not saying they would have won, but that was a potential momentum flipping call. Absolutely, man. Absolutely, brother. You can't have these game affecting penalties. I'm not even going to just say game changing, because maybe that was game changing, but that one was definitely game affecting. Game affecting for sure. So, yeah, man. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. But the reason, guys, really quick, man, because when I do the video, I'll kind of talk about keys to victory. But I just want to spend 2 seconds here with my concern and then fire away in the chat. I said all along, y'all remember I said all along that we would probably split. We would probably split with the Baltimore Ravens. Well, we won the first matchup in Pittsburgh. I still feel like it's a pick'em game, but I still feel like the Ravens found a way to split the series. And it's in Baltimore. Listen, I know what y'all are going to say. And you're right. For whatever reason, Lamar hasn't had a big game against us. We've done a great job scheming against them, but they got something on the line too. This is to clinch the division for the Steelers. I do believe, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but based off of the math, I do believe even if we lose, we could still potentially win the division with the remaining 2 games. But if they win this game, they got the division. But I'm just saying, man, I don't know. I mean, I know we've been very successful against the Ravens in the last, 8-9 matchups. I'm just saying, I've been saying all along that I felt like we would split this year. You know? I felt like we would split. So we'll see. I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to hope for it. But, man, it would be great to clinch the division. It would be absolutely wonderful because at that point, you know you get a playoff game at the crib, which I would really love for us to do. I would hate for us to have to go on the road because, some of these AFC teams, it'll be tough. But, I look around, and I think pretty much everybody that's going to get in can be beaten. Buffalo is going to be a tough out. But I've been saying this, man, for the last couple of weeks now, and I'm surprised that I'm on this train. But I think I have a weird feeling that the Steelers will win the game against the Chiefs on Christmas. Some of you guys might say there's no evidence of that from this last Sunday performance. I agree with you. But for some reason, I just feel like we could definitely stick with them this year because I do not feel like the Chiefs are that powerful. Yes, I know what their record is, guys. Remember, you're talking to the guy that did not believe in the 11-0 or 12-0 Steelers, whatever we were that year. And I kept coming on here every week. Guys, I don't believe that 8-0. We don't look like no 9-0 team. Man, this 10-0 don't look good. Bro, I know we 11-0, but remember I kept saying it. That's how I feel about the Chiefs right now. That's how I feel about the Chiefs. And then, yeah, Mahomes, could be gimpy. But even with Mahomes, they just don't feel strong to me. When I watch them, they are a heck of a team, man, that you got to applaud anytime you win and to have a record like that. Hats off to them. Love Andy Reid. I love even my man. What's my man name on the defense? I don't know why I can't remember his name right now, but love how he approaches the game. I love what he did when he was with the Giants, I believe. I can't believe I don't remember my man's name, but y'all know who I'm talking about. But love Patrick Mahomes and how gutsy he is and how they just find ways to win. It's commendable, but they don't feel overpowering. So yeah, my man Spags. There we go. Thank you, Y Diggy. But I just have a sneaky suspicion that the Steelers will win the Christmas game. I just have a feeling. But other than that, man, listen. How do y'all feel about us making the playoffs either way? I would prefer us to have a game at home, but if we go on the road, we go on the road. I already know what some of you guys are going to say. Oh, we're going to be one and done, and we might. Who knows? But like I said, my expectations for this season, and this was before the start of the season, I thought if Russell Wilson started, he did not. Justin Fields held us down. But I felt like if Russell Wilson was the starting quarterback, my expectations was for the Steelers to have a little better season than last year, get to the playoffs and win at least one playoff game, I thought that was a positive step up. It's currently looking like that is a possibility. It looks like it could be if they can get the offense going. That's going to be the key. If they can find ways to get the offense to just play serviceable, guys. Again, 24 points. I even take 22, 21 with sustained drives because the defense was going to help us. Even though they give up explosive plays, they're going to keep us in games if we are possessing the ball and scoring. So I do think it's a possibility that they could get at least one playoff game, but we'll see. If they were one and done, it wouldn't surprise me either. I'm just being a realist about it. What y'all got, man? What y'all got? Steve Spears says Elliott and Pickens is going to make a difference. Upset Steelers will win the next 3 games. Ooh. Okay, Steve, that's a lot right there. I'll take it. Astro Drip says, I think we need to win this game. I don't want to have an away playoff game. Yeah, I'm with you. Yo guys are talking about Roman Wilson. I saw something floating around saying, do we think Roman Wilson would be able to get back for the playoffs? Perhaps, but even when they were trying to work him back in, he wasn't getting a lot of time. So I don't know how much of a difference he would be able to make just coming in fresh now. Kay says Ravens defense is nowhere near as good as the Eagles, though. True. Ravens have played better defense since they played us, but yeah, the Ravens have shown that they're susceptible as well to the pass and things like that. And you can potentially run on them if you catch them in the right situation. Let's see. What else do y'all got? We played the Eagles. They beat the Ravens too. Absolutely did. What else? Mark says the 23 points per game is the magic number. I think so, man. Right around there. Steeler Card says Steelers must address a wide receiver, and they will. Roman will be the third option in 2025 behind Pickens and a draft pick or free agent. I'm not so sure about that as far as, third option if you're referring to him being a slot guy. That's possible. That's where I would use Roman Wilson right out the gate is in the slot. Dominic says the Chiefs are the new Patriots. They got all the calls and all the luck. They have a little luck. I think a lot of teams have a little luck, man, but we can't deny the Chiefs kind of, they've earned it. They've earned the spot. But again, Buffalo made a nice statement with the win that they had against them, pretty handedly too. Even though Buffalo has lost some games, but if right now I would have to say, man, Buffalo looks like maybe the strongest team in the AFC or one of at least. So I'm a little more concerned with the Bills than I am the Chiefs at this present day. UT local band says, does Smith actually, I lost it. Oh, there it goes. Does Smith actually utilize Williams more? Because I've only seen him like 4 passes. Yeah, man, I don't know what it is with that. I don't know what it is with that, man. I don't know. Is it really that Mike Williams hasn't caught on yet? Or because we see this happen all the time when we acquire players, and it seems like it takes a while for them to get going, but they got to find ways to use them. I mean, hey, use them. Excuse me, guys. Use them the way that we have pretty much used George Pickens and let him just run, streaks or something or a post or, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm not going to pretend that it's easy. I've never played on an NFL team or I've never read an NFL playbook. So I don't know how easy it is or isn't to pick it up. But what else? I want to spend here a little more time, just a little more. The Arch Steeler says 2 weeks ago, Tuesday, I was calling in to say, I believe we're going to be at the Chiefs, and you said it, Sim. I believe we're going to beat the Chiefs. Okay. And I don't know what I said then. I don't know if I said it 2 weeks ago, but I know I started getting more on that train over the last couple of weeks. I remember early in the season, I was like, we ain't beating no Kansas City. But as I started, like I told you guys, sometimes, it's fluid. Your mind can change as the eye test continues to get put to the test, right? And over the last few weeks, I've been feeling like the Chiefs don't scare me, man. They don't. Rajan says, yeah, Josh, but we need to keep it just football. Okay, I don't know. Y'all talking about something else there. What is that? Hip-hop-potamus? Am I saying that correctly? He says, I see Wilson putting up another goose egg on offense as well as everyone else except our MVP Boswell. Nah, man, we played well against the Ravens first time. I don't remember what the score was. I'd have to go. Let me go back and look. Talking about I don't remember, and all I got to do is look, right? Let me see how that game transpired. Actually, let me look at the stats from that game. Give me a second. Should be able to pull the box score. Oh, that's right. It was Boswell. That's why he said the goose egg. That's right. 18-16. Oh, gosh. Yeah, that wasn't pretty. That was not pretty because let me see. Statistically, Russell Wilson was 23 of 36, 205 yards and an interception. I remember that interception. Remember the one he tried to throw to Darnell Washington back of the end zone. Naji Harris rushed for 63 yards off of 18 carries, 3.5. Jaylen Warren was 9 for 41. He averaged 4.6. And George Pickens was 8 for 89. Not bad. And the Ravens, however, Lamar Jackson, 16 of 33, 207, 1 interception, and 1 touchdown. Derrick Henry, 13 carries for 65 yards. Lamar Jackson, 4 carries for 46 yards. And Justice Hill, 2 carries for 13 yards. So they didn't do much either. Isaiah Likely had 4 receptions for 75 yards, so he led the way as far as receiving yards. But again, they did put up a touchdown in the game. We did not. We didn't. Actually, they put up 2. Derrick Henry and Zay Flowers. So our defense held us in the game. So that's the thing, guys. We just got to put up some points. I just don't like the game being in Baltimore, man. But we'll see. We'll see. All right. 1 or 2 more. Tony Smith says, when we going to realize Smith is just like a little bit better than Matt Canada? I don't think that's an unfair statement. However, while I'm looking at the schedule, I'm coming right to you, Brent. 1 second. While I'm looking at the schedule, I can also, let's count them. 1, 2, 3. Like I said, 3 games of more than 30 yards. And that's something that Matt Canada never did. Right? So we've scored 24 points, even in a loss, 32 points, 37 points, 26 points, 28 points, 44 points, 27 points. And all of those totals are higher than Matt Canada. So, I mean, again, it's everyone's opinion. Maybe he is just a smidget better, but like what I will say is this. We can win with Arthur Smith's offense. Arthur Smith just needs to open it up a little more. That's it. That's what I will say. I'm not going to say he's great. I'm not going to say he's trash. We've been able to produce points. So we just got to find ways to continue to do that. That's it. We've shown that it will work. And some people are going to say, oh, yeah, but we did that against certain teams. No. We put up some decent points. The Commanders was a good team at the time. The Jets got a good defense. We put up 37 on them. So we just got to continue to score more points. That's all. Brent Fox, man, I appreciate that Wonder Bread, buddy. Wow. He says, Sim, is there a reason you think we are not running stretch zone, non-toss handoffs to the 6 and 7 holes? Also, happy holidays, everyone. And happy holidays to you as well. Man, I can't think of a. Okay, let me say this, and this statement is going to contradict itself. The only reason why I could possibly think that we're not doing it is because maybe they don't feel like Naji is good with cutting back against the grain or reading like zone blocking and things that a lot of times that you get with stretch. But then if that's the case, why are you running these quick tosses, right? Because remember, guys, these are not your traditional tosses where we're throwing it wide. We're doing that. I like to call it a quick toss. And I don't know what the actual design of the play is because I see some teams do it. You know how they run that quick toss and the running back basically gets the ball almost like behind the center. He's not way far out. It's kind of like we're going to give it to you early and let you decide what gap to go through. But to me, that's kind of the same logic as like a read. Like stretch and, outside zone and those type of things, you're kind of reading where the crease. So if you're willing to run that quick toss with him, then why wouldn't you do that? But that would be my only reason to think about that. But then run it with Jaylen Warren because Jaylen Warren hits the hole better only because of his mentality. He cuts and goes. He finds the crease and he go. He don't waste no time. But I wish I could answer that, Brent. It is baffling. It's also baffling. Why don't we run more power and pulls and we haven't even ran as many whams this year. We haven't run as many split zone where you have a guy coming across the formation. Little stuff like that is in most offenses. I know it's a new coordinator, but most offenses has that play. I don't know, man. I don't know. Really don't know. Tony Smith says he act like he can't use Michael Williams like Canada couldn't use CA3. It is mind-boggling, guys. I will, or like my boy Will Ferrell said, mind-bottling. He says, like when your mind gets all trapped up in a bottle. But yeah, man, it's crazy. But all right, guys, I think that's enough for the night. Let me read one more. Steeler Card says, I expect the Steelers to bring it in a big-time free agent splash. Bring in a big-time free agent splash. We got the cap space. It will either be T. Higgins or a cornerback. I hope so, man. I really hope so. We definitely need to make a splash, man, some kind of way, somehow, some way. Hold on, let me go back and read Do Dirty CEO. I like that, CEO. He says the Eagles would easily beat the Chiefs and the Bills. Okay, I'm with you with possibly them beating the Chiefs. I don't know if it's an easy win against the Bills. I don't know about that. Josh Allen is playing in another planet right now. He just, it looked like they got that mojo this year. It looks like they got that mojo, man. Now I'm not saying that they're unbeatable, but I can't call that today that the Eagles will easily beat the Bills. No. The Eagles, to me, have been a little up and down this season as well. Great record, but their play has been a little up and down. And again, I'm a component of any given Sunday. I'm a component of, look, styles make fights. But Eagles have been in some close games. Even that game against Carolina, who saw that coming? But from what I've seen from the Eagles, no, I can't call that one. But I'm with you with the Chiefs, man. Like I said, the Chiefs don't scare nobody right now. And that's all due respect to them. Because, again, I think what Andy Reid is doing over there, him and Mahomes and company and Spags, they're winning football games the old, dirty, grimy way. Kind of looking like the Steelers, right? But, yeah. Nah, Steve, Detroit is not a sleeper. I don't think nobody's sleeping on Detroit. Detroit wide awake. They wide awake. They on Ambien. Ain't nobody nobody should be sleeping on them. They showed us last year that they was coming, and now they are here. They are here. That's the matchup I want to see. I want to see that. I want to see the Eagles versus the Lions. Matter of fact, who won that? Bills won that game? Yeah, wasn't it something crazy like 40? Hold on, let me look. Wasn't it some crazy score? I think the Lions ended up coming back because I think the Bills was up on them pretty good at one point. Let me see. What was that final score? I don't remember. 48-42. That's nuts. That's nuts. Yeah, the Detroit ain't playing no games. They're not playing no games. Now, if you're asking me, a sleeper team is like somebody like the Packers. Cannot sleep on the Vikings either. Like, all of these teams are showing themselves to be good, but I think the Packers is that young, hungry team, man, that got talent that gonna catch somebody sleeping in the playoffs. Just my thoughts. Oh, yeah, and while Diggy might be right with that, you could say Minnesota possibly a sleeper team too, even though their record would say they're not, but you might say that because it's Sam Darnold, man. Like, who expected that? If you J.J. McCarthy, what you thinking right now? What you thinking if you J.J.? I'm just saying. I know he's the number one draft pick, but they got some questions to answer going into camp next year, bro. I don't know if Darnold was under contract. I'm just saying. Darnold about to make him some money. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But, all right, man, I spent enough time with y'all tonight, man. I got to go ahead and get out of here so I can get myself ready for my commute in the morning. Love talking to y'all, man. It's surprising that I lasted this long without having a phone queue, but this is what we do. Y'all bring it out of me, man. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. But before I go, right here, boom, hit that like button. If you like the content, subscribe to the channel. But once you are subscribed, ring that notification bell. How else would you know I'm streaming or a video has been uploaded for you to review? Outside of that, we're going to give you the normal spill. I need you guys to stay safe, stay healthy. God bless. Good night. Like always, I thank you all for tuning in, and I shall catch you in the next one, which in most people's case, that should be, it's going to have to be Friday, right? Since the game is on Saturday. So be on the lookout for the pre-play game, before play is what I call it, the before play video, where I just give my keys to victory, yada, yada, yada. And I think I'll try to do it as a stream sometime Friday night. All right, man, I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.